Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Wednesday morning. Yeah, Wednesday morning. It's the 27th day of August, 2025, and this is the morning briefing coming at you from the home weather office. Looking out the window, my view from the weather office is more south and a little southwest, and so from this view, I just have blue sky. But I went over to that view, and there are still some clouds over the Sierra. We are going to see more monsoon storms today, but they'll be in a different location than what we saw yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was a really interesting day. Some of you had downpours, some of you just saw the clouds. Let me show you where the clouds are this morning. As the sun is coming up on California and the West Coast, you can see this bit of cloud cover mostly over the Sierra. We do not have that big area of cloud cover that we saw over the valley yesterday. And obviously to the east, yeah, there's still a lot going on out here. We have a lot of monsoon moisture. And then the other thing we're going to have to keep an eye on is smoke. I'll talk more about fires here in a little bit, but there are fires burning to the north. There are fires burning to the south. We also have this little eddy off the coast, which looks interesting. And that's going to help to keep temperatures in check today. Generally low to mid 90s, not too far from average for this time of year. But before I get too much more into that, let me review a little bit about what happened yesterday. And for that, let's go to the California Nevada River Forecast Center. And didn't mean to do that, meant to do this. There we go. And what this is observed precipitation over the last 24 hours. And this is always a great resource that we use, of course, during the wintertime especially. And so, for instance, there is this cell that came down through southwest Placer County, and it was moving to the south, but it was moving very slowly. And if you look at this area around, here's Folsom, here's Roseville, Granite Bay area, this cell, in some areas, this report of 1/4 of an inch. Over toward Rockland, there was a little bit less than 1/10 of an inch. But then you go down into Sacramento itself, nothing. Placerville reported just 2/100ths of an inch. We also saw some pretty good cells in the parts of Butte County. And on the eastern part of Butte County, we saw more than 1/10 of an inch of rain. And we even saw more than 1/10 of an inch of rain in Red Bluff. In the Sierra, this has been really good because, of course, one of our concerns here is all the lightning strikes that we're seeing. But we aren't, in the Sierra anyway, seeing dry lightning. We are seeing is some good wetting rains. And as you can see up here near Donner Summit, 1/2 inch of rain, 3/4 of an inch of rain, even in Truckee, a couple of tenths. One spot over here, north of Incline Village, reporting more than 2 inches. Not sure if that's right or wrong, but it certainly could be right. Then down here, this looks like it's near Monitor Pass. Yeah, Markleyville reported 1 inch of rain. And again, that's just the last 24 hours. And then we also saw this really good cell into Mariposa and Tuolumne counties, where we also saw some really good rain. There's Mono Lake here. And so here along Highway 120, another 1/2 inch of rain. So for those of you that were in Yosemite yesterday, likely saw some pretty good rain. And I talked about that. Yeah, yesterday, not a great day to be hiking Half Dome or any of the backcountry of Yosemite. But as you can see, not everybody got the rain, so that's the hit and miss nature of the thunderstorms that we are seeing. And today, a lot of that activity is going to be a little bit farther to the east. So with that, let's go to the HRRR and show you where we are going to see thunderstorms today. The pattern is shifting just a little bit. So today, the thunderstorms are going to be more to the east. Oh, and by the way, yesterday, I showed you the HRRR and the NAM nest, and the NAM had been doing much better in convective situations in the last, month or so. Well, yesterday the HRRR was the clear winner, so that's the one we'll go with today. This is around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Once again, we have some showers near Modoc County and farther to the north and west, and then down through Lassen County, Portola, Whitehawk. We'll likely see those. Maybe around Tahoe, but this model showing a little bit to the east, and then down 395. Once again, the eastern side of Yosemite, but nothing here on the west slope today. So that's at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And as we go into the evening hours, you can see where all that moisture continues to go. We're also going to see this area come up from the south. I know there's some of you that watch from Southern California. We're going to see some rain. I'll show you more on that here in just a second. Get into the day on Thursday, and here in Northern California, we see even less rain. Still some showers along 395 and into Nevada, but it looks as though much of California will end up staying dry on Thursday. All right, let's talk a little bit about this. Looks interesting, doesn't it? All right, let's go to this. So what we're going to look at here is precipitable water. And what we have here is a large area of precipitable water, and notice how that streams into Southern California. And of course into Arizona, where the monsoon has been going gangbusters over the last few days. So yeah, just track that area of moisture right there. See how that comes up like that? Well, what is that? Well, that is Tropical Storm Juliet, which is, there's Cabo here, so it's east of Cabo. It's falling apart. You know, today it's a tropical storm. By the time we get into tomorrow, it's a tropical depression. So it's not like we're going to see a tropical storm go into California. Although, man, if I was just an unethical YouTuber, I could make a great headline about this. But no, it's just going to be some moisture, but it could bring some rain to Southern California during the day tomorrow. We'll have to keep an eye on San Diego County and then the inland deserts to see how that impacts those areas. Let's see how overall pattern is going to shape up. So we still have this kind of a baggy trough, but the pattern is shifting enough that we're going to get more of that westerly flow from the west to keep thunderstorms to the east of the Sierra, and that means that we kind of push the monsoon moisture farther to the east instead of coming up from the south and the southwest. Instead, we start getting back into that typical flow, and this low will help to keep temperatures in a nice range. We will likely see a bump on the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, likely upper 90s, mid to upper 90s for the valley, but I don't think we'll see 100 degrees, at least not widespread in the valley. There may be areas, let's say like Redding, may see 100 degrees, but for the most part, I think we're going to be okay. Then early next week, troughing, and here's that big omega high here, Rex block here, and this is an interesting pattern for next week. What day are we up to now? This is next Thursday, so this is a week from tomorrow. More of a westerly flow here from the 6Z run. The models still are not very consistent from run to run, but if this run is true, this would mean comfortable weather for next week. But like I said, the models are far from in really good consensus on next week at this point. But yeah, if that run right there is true, then next week we continue the comfortable weather. And here we are in the 27th day of August. Our chances of 100-degree temperatures are decreasing by the day. We have maybe another few weeks. Yes, we have seen 100 degrees in Sacramento as late as October 10th, but those are pretty rare. And as I've talked about before, once we get past about mid-September, any 100-degree days are baby 100s. It goes up to 100, 101, then it cools off down to the 50s by early morning because the nights are so much longer. So we are really getting to the end of the hot weather season. Not saying we're done to hundreds just yet. We still have a few weeks of potential for that. But if you look at the season in general, we're winding things down. And even those of you that really don't like heat, and yeah, I hear from you in the comments section. Even for those of you that don't like the hot days, you got to admit, the summer has been a pretty good one. That's everything I've got for you this morning. It is a Wednesday morning. It's going to be a very comfortable day, comfortable temperatures. Get outside and enjoy it if you can. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.